Skill-Building Call for 2024. Get ready to begin an amazing 45 minutes where we're going to be going into contractor bidding, part 3 of the flow of the 203K project using the Genesis Rehab reporting system. So get ready. We're going to be starting in 2 minutes. While you're waiting, please take a second and type in the chat where you're from, what membership level that you're in, and what are you looking forward to getting out of this conversation today. Thank you for joining us. Like 75 screens open. Good morning again and welcome. Thank you so much for being here for our first monthly skill building call for January for 2024. This is January skill building call. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Catherine Hall. I'm the executive director of the National Association of FHA Consultants and the creator of the Genesis Rehab reporting system. And I'm very honored to be your host for this month's session. We are in part 3 of a 5-part series on understanding the flow of a rehab project using the Genesis Rehab reporting system. And the first thing I want to do is I just want to welcome and thank one of our amazing team leaders, Kenneth Blair. He's sitting there with a heavy, thick coat on. So I guess it's as cold in Alabama as it is down here in Florida. It's only 43 degrees here. I don't know what's up with that. Okay. So Ken, as you are our first team leader who's on the call, I've made you co-host so that you can actually let people in the meeting who get added to the waiting room. Okay, so Ken, put a thumbs up if you notice that you are co-hosting the meeting and can let people into the call. Okay, so Ken, can you hear me? Got it? Okay, great. Thumbs up on that. Okay, Ken? Or is it too cold to put your thumb up? So we're going to get started right away. And the first thing I want to do is let you know that these meetings are also put on our NAFHAC Facebook page as a Facebook Live event. So if you are finding yourself having to be on the road or unable to be sitting at your desk for these calls, so that's the best way to really engage in this information, you actually can follow along in your car while you hands-free driving, of course, you going to our Facebook page, the NAFHAC 203K Facebook page. You can watch the meeting. Additionally, as our members of NAFHAC are aware, we use Fathom AI for all of our meetings. And so at the end of this meeting, we're going to be sending an email out, which will give you the key takeaways, which will give you action items, and will give you the complete written transcript of this entire meeting along with the video. So technology is an amazing thing if you can know how to make it work for you. And this year we're starting off well because we finally were able to get the Facebook Live integration with the Fathom streaming at the same time. So yay team, we've got this working great. So let's just dive right in, because one of the other changes for 2024 at your request is we've shortened this meeting down to just 45 minutes. It is a boiled down meeting. It is pure content. It is pure education and training. There is no interaction. We don't allow people to ask questions. If you have a question that you want to put in the chat, we will typically either answer them during the course of the meeting as it is pertinent to the conversation, or the team leader who is on the call is also monitoring that chat, and they will answer your messages during the meeting. Okay, so just to let you know, we aren't going to leave you hanging with questions, but we will not be unmuting people and letting them ask questions. We want to be able to get you in, get you educated, and get you out and on your day. So if you think that's a good new model for these calls, please type in the chat that you're on board with us. We are also a member of the Grant Cardone 10X community. I am a 10X business coach. So this year you're going to start hearing me say things like, if you think this is a good idea, type in 10X in the chat, which means we're going to be multiplying our success, our productivity, our outreach, and our excitement in this industry and in our businesses. How many times? 10 times. So if you're on board with that today, just type in 10 and then an X next to it to let us know that you are excited about the direction that NAFHAC is moving in 2024. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to change the screen that I'm sharing. And so Ken, if you notice, people are waiting in the waiting room. You have to hit admit all. I just saw them in there. So you have to make sure you hit watch that waiting room participant. So there are people in the waiting room asking to join. Okay, so this did make you a co-host, and and you are the co-host. So you actually can let people into the room. So they're knocking at the door, let them on in. All right, so we're sharing my screen. Good, let me double check to make sure everything is working here. It looks like we are. And so let me know if you are seeing my screen, because I'm about to share this page. Now, I've shared this before, thank you all, and I'm going to actually put the link to the file, and let's put this in here. So that is, the file name is called the flow. All right, so I'm going to put a link to this in the chat, and I'm also going to put a link to this in Facebook when I finish the meeting, when I am in the process of compiling it. So I'm going to actually put this in the meeting, but for now I'm going to stick this in the chat so that you all can have access to that. All right, perfect. So I just put the link to this PDF. In November of 2023, we launched this 5-part series because we have so many new members joining our association. It's so exciting that I said, you know what? A lot of people need to know what the flow of the events is. In fact, what we're probably going to be doing is we will possibly, and I'm still working out with our team leaders what's going to happen in 2024, but I might be actually doing, and we're going to ask your feedback as well, a weekly 30-minute Facebook Live. And it's actually going to be on Thursdays as well. And it will typically be the actual every Thursday, of the month, where we're going to do something called, we had it last year, called Q&A on 203K, where we're going to basically, probably not even 30 minutes, maybe like 20 minutes, where we're going to take small chunks of the 203K world and just basically go into it and give that kind of a little bit of a condensed training each week to help you be able to feed yourself in this industry. Because as many of you've known, I've said all along and often, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And the world of rehab consulting is an elephant. I'm not even going to make any bones about it. It is a lot to know to be a successful rehab consultant. And that's why we never run out of content to teach, train, and educate you. So on the second week of November, and this is in the archives, we talked about the pre-inspection task list. And in that pre-inspection task list, we reviewed right there, pre-inspection task list. We talked about the things you need to do to start a 203K project. So a quick 2-minute review. The first thing I want you to understand, and I want you all to type in the chat because I want your agreement on this, okay? Do not immediately schedule your consultation appointment as soon as you get a call from somebody. So without raising your right hands and taking a pledge, I want you to type in the chat, I will not. I agree. Okay. This is not a home inspection. You need to make sure to take off that home inspector hat and don't just rush up when someone calls you and say, hey, I'll come out tomorrow. That is the wrong thing to do. There is background work that you need to complete, and we went through that background work in November. It's important that you actually immediately get the name and contact information of the lender, and you want to submit to the lender a request for the consultation request form. So you see where it says, get consultation request form from loan officer. That is the most important step. You need to get your marching orders from the lender. Define the goals of the borrower and set expectations in writing. What's that? That's your agreement. And how is the best way to define goals and be able to set expectations? Is I recommend everybody do a pre-site visit Zoom meeting. Spend 20-30 minutes on a Zoom call with the borrower, with the contractor if they have one, and with the loan officer and real estate agent if present. Because you know what? They will appreciate the way that you are starting this project, making sure everybody is on the same page and making sure everyone understands what this process is going to be and the flow. Because to be totally honest, most people today are starting to work with rehab loans with no clue how to do them or what they take to do them. So if you've experienced this already, where even the loan officer doesn't know what happens with a 203K project, type a 10X in the chat to let me know that you agree that we are going to have to increase our education and outreach 10 times this year to get everybody understanding what to expect from you and the expect from this project, because that is a hard thing that people in the home inspection industry are learning. They want to just jump up and go out, just like they do a home inspection, and find out that it's not the time to go out. They maybe even shouldn't have gone out at all. The project is not viable or even real. Or worse yet, they've actually gone out to the property before knowing truly what the expectations and needs are of the job. So go back to the November skill building call and watch it again to be able to reinforce that information on what are the steps to do before going out to the property. Second, step 2, we did in December. It was the last group meeting that we had, apart from the webinars that we held on minimum property standards. We talked about what to do and how to prepare that initial site visit and the preliminary work write-up report. Okay. When we do that preliminary work write-up, we actually, and there are people waiting to get in. So I'll just add them. Okay. All right. So when we are doing our preliminary work write-up and initial site visit, okay, it's important to understand that you need to make sure that all parties can be present. I've had a couple of you go out and do your preliminary work write-up with no borrower present. You can't do that. This is not a home inspection. Okay. So everybody type in the chat, 203K is not a home inspection. The reason why you have to have a borrower present at this meeting is because, unlike a home inspection where you are simply divulging to them, describing to them what is visually present in the home as per your evaluation, with a 203K Fannie Mae, any kind of rehab loan project, 50% of the work, even more sometimes, is going to be determined by the borrower in their desired repairs. So if you don't have a borrower present to tell you what their desires are, you can't do 50% of your work. Does that make sense? Okay, because that is so important. Okay, so you need to make sure that as you are moving forward, you are getting that information from the borrower. And if the borrower says, I can't be there, then you're going to postpone that appointment and tell everybody that you're postponing the appointment until the borrower can be present. Why is this so important? And this rolls back into process number 1. You don't want to have to go back to that property anymore until after closing, because time is money. And when you go out to the property and you collect your payment and you have to go back again because the borrower wasn't there, or you didn't have the architectural plans and you need to review those with the project, or you found, or something else has come up that you didn't really have that information at the time you went out the first time. Every time you go out to the property, you don't get paid again. Unlike a home inspection, if you go back and do a re-inspection, or if you do another inspection, you get another payment from that customer. You don't. Your fees are fixed by HUD. And if you have to go out 2, 3, 4 times before closing, that's part of the work write-up fee. So I'm trying to help you keep your field visits ratio to income ratio down to 1. Okay. Type in the chat if you agree. 1 is all you want to do to go out to a property. Okay. You want to go out 1 time and make the most amount of money before closing. Then after closing, you want to do your draws. And you want to make sure that we keep that done. 1 time is fine. Okay. Thank you, Curtis. All right. Let's not go out. Let's not rush out and then have to go back out a second time. All right. And unfortunately, a couple of you who've just started made that error. You scheduled it right away. You went out to the property. 1, the borrower wasn't there. 2, you didn't have a consultation request form. Or 3, you didn't have the full detailed scope of work because they were doing architectural plans and you didn't have any of that information. And now you have to go back a second time. So make yourself look great and don't go out more than once. Okay, so that is how you do that is by making sure you get the details and schedule a pre-visit services. And we talked about that on that event. A pre-visit service would be septic, well, architectural plans, sewer scans, okay, underground tank testing. All right, hello, New Jersey. Okay, a lot of you in New Jersey have underground tanks. They are not acceptable with an FHA loan, oil tanks. And so those tanks have to be tested to make sure they're closed up. And if they're closed up, are they leaking? Is there any kind of a problem with that? That's something you need to know before you go out to the property, because guess what? If it has an underground tank that hasn't been removed, it hasn't been sealed, it hasn't been filled with sand, and it's cracked and shows signs that it's leaking oil into the surrounding soil, guess what? That deal is dead before you get out there. Help the borrower save money on fees by doing pre-service tests. Okay, lots of them here in Winter Park. Way to go, Joe. So now you know one of the things that you're going to be coordinating for your customers. Good job. So now that brings us up to where we are today. Okay, I did that brief recap because it's the beginning of the year and some of you are just starting out with these calls. Contractor bidding. This is basically the part that is most challenging to members because as a home inspector, you don't deal with anyone else. You go out to a property, you evaluate the home, you give them a report, and you say bye-bye. That's not what a rehab consultant does. A rehab consultant's job is to help that borrower get to closing. Our job is to make sure that they're able to take the information that you've created by providing the details on mandatory repairs, recommended improvements and corrections, and desired upgrades. Those are the 3 things that the borrower needs to have in their work write-up report, in the preliminary work write-up report. And from that preliminary work write-up report, a contractor bidding package is created. And that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about how to make sure what you created in the preliminary work write-up is competently and carefully and completely, 3 C's, shared with the contractor so they can effectively bid using Genesis. All right. So let's look at the steps that we're going to review today over the next 30 minutes. 1, ensure all contractors understand the details. What's the best way to do that? We're going to go all the way back up to pre-inspection task list item number 1. And how we're going to do that is by making sure we schedule a pre-site visit Zoom meeting. It can be as short as 15 minutes. But the most important thing, if the borrower already has a contractor, is that that contractor is made aware of the most key ingredient of a rehab project. In most cases, all 203K cases, all 203K standard rehab loans, and most Fannie Mae home style and VA loans, the contractor does not receive any upfront money before starting work. Okay, that is an important consideration that the contractor needs to be made aware of before he bids. Many contractors are not aware of that, and they'll actually put in their bids or have given a contractor proposal to the borrower before you've gotten out there, which it breaks down into the payments. Okay, so it says 40% up front, okay, at time of contract signing. As soon as you get a bid from a contractor, if they have already bid before you started your work with the client, you see that in there, that's a red flag that you need to stop the contractor right up front and say, hey, guess what? There is no upfront money. There is no payment at contract signing. All payments are made after closing unless completely described and a process has taken place prior to settlement. Repeat, prior to settlement. Monitor and keep all parties aware of the timelines. Contractors are not really great at paperwork. They do not like sitting down and writing reports, and writing bids. Many of them have challenges with technology. That's why we made Genesis as easy as possible. Okay, so you need to make sure that they do the work. And I'm going to show you in Genesis how to be able to see if a contractor has even opened the bid. Okay, once the contractor has worked on the bid, he's accepted the bid, he submitted the bid to you, and you've received it through Genesis, you need to confirm in writing that all people have accepted that bid. How do you do that? We're going to talk about that briefly with Acrobat Pro DC. That is the PDF editor that we work with in Genesis. It's the most successful. It's the most reasonable based upon cost, because what it does is it allows the borrower, it allows you to edit a PDF and get signatures and monitor when people have signed it. So it's $14.99 or no, $19.97. I think it went up this year slightly, but it allows for all the things that you need to do with your rehab work, both before and after closing. So consider that as part of your investments in your business in 2024. Okay. One of the things that we shared for our Premium Elite members was we shared with our Premium members the top 10 tools for business success in 2024. That was something that we shared with our Premium Elite members back in December, and we're going to be sharing it with all of our members in February. We give our premium members advanced resources and access to tools for business building and growth. And then we sometimes will share them with all of our general membership, but our premium level membership is the most successful for your business. So let's go back. Contractor bidding, accept and import the bid to finalize the project. Okay. And then you are done. Those are the 4 steps of a contractor bid. So let's get started and let's dive into Genesis and see how these things work in real time. Okay, so let's move on, and I'm going to open up my screen. There we go. I'm going to move that over to here. So give me a 10x or a thumbs up if you see the Genesis Rehab reporting screen on your computer screen, because sometimes I will fail to share my screen. So somebody be my screen monitor and message me immediately if I'm not sharing my screens. So I'm going to log in. And the first thing I want to show you on the main login screen is there are 4 portals for people to log into Genesis. You log in as the company to manage your consultant or consultants. That's where you change passwords. That's where you update email addresses for the consultant side. You can't change the password. You can't change the email for the company side, but you can for the consultants in the company side. This is where you update passwords for your company, update passwords for your consultants, update information for your contractors. Everything in the company side is for management of the company activities of a consultant. The consultant management side, that's where you manage your projects. That's where you create activity. This is where you as a consultant manage your systems. Okay. And so this is how you enter to be able to create projects, create draws, manage your work as a consultant. The contractor management system, this is where your contractors go to be able to enter their bids, to be able to create draws. This is where your contractors go. And the borrower management system, well, it's self-explanatory. Your borrowers, when you give them invitation to join the Genesis platform, they actually can view all of the reports that you've created for them directly into the Genesis system by logging in as a borrower. Okay. And one of the things that I've actually been telling our members, you should suggest to your borrower that they share that login with their lender. Okay. We have had conversations with our legal team, and the conversation is that being as this is a private transaction between a borrower and you as a consultant, even though the lender is involved in that activity, it's still something that the borrower should initiate So what you should do is you should let the borrower know, I've invited you into Genesis. If you like, you can forward this email to your lender so they can log in and view the PDFs and the reports as well through your portal. This way, the information that the lender is getting is coming directly from the borrower. So there's no conflict as far as the borrower saying, I didn't want the lender to see this. They have the ability to share that. Does everybody understand that? Put a 10X in the chat if you understand that. Let the borrower control the flow of information to the lender, to the realtor. Let them share it. Okay. So if they want their real estate agent to get copies of the report, let the borrower forward the link to the lender. And we have an automatic email that goes out when the borrower is invited. We're going to be updating that email by the end of the month. That will basically say, for quality control and privacy reasons, please note that if you would like to have these PDFs and access shared with your lender or real estate agent, that you as a borrower have the option to forward this email with login credentials to those parties at your discretion. Okay, but it's also going to say, but we do not recommend that you share this access with your contractor because they have access through their own platform. And so that email is going to be changed so that whenever you invite a borrower, they will be able to get that information directly through the Genesis system. And also you want to follow up with an email yourself, because you also will get the same email that the borrower gets so that you see that they got it. And you can forward that email back. Hey, I noticed this is the email that you should have received. If you didn't, here it is again. And if you want to share this information, you can simply forward it. So everybody get that? Okay. So that's how we feel that you're going to be able to help your borrowers have control. So first thing you do is you type in your company ID and then you hit enter consultant side. I'm going to put in my password manager. And if you do not have a password manager, may I suggest you get one? They are amazing. I don't have to remember anything. All I have to do is remember one password in my life, and then all the other ones follow along. Okay, so my vault is opening, my password vault is opening. And once it comes up, there we go. And there you can see that it shows me all of the password and logins that I have for this account. So I'm going to go back in here. So there I can see I'm going to log in as a consultant. All right, so here's my projects. All right, so let's go to our project management tab. And on this tab, you actually have the ability to see every project and what status each of those projects is in. Okay, so right now I have 2 projects that are in preliminary work write-up, which is where we're going to be starting at right now. Okay, and then you can see I have 4 projects that are in contractor bidding. So now this little button right here, the zoom button, this is an important tool because if you are on a smaller screen, if you're looking at this through your cell phone or a tablet or an iPad, it's sometimes a little smaller. So we've given you this zoom button that allows you to do just that. It zooms in and it actually, optimizes it for whatever device you're on, but it allows you to see things a whole lot bigger, as you can see now on the screen. And when you want to take it off of the zoom, it's a toggle. So you just hit the red, you hit zoom when it's red, and it will toggle it off. So I did that so I can show you the active projects tab in a bigger screen. So here you see we have one project that is in preliminary work write-up, and we're going to tag that now. And what we're going to do is we're going to take that project and move it into contractor bidding. And there you can see we have 4 projects that are in contractor bidding. And at any day, this should be a part, once you get started and you have 10, 15, 30 projects actively going, okay, this is a tab you want to check every day. You want to check and see what projects have no bids even been received, so that you can actually go to that tab right away and then be able to go and see what contractors have not put in bids for projects that they should have. So this is something that you want to get into your muscle memory, just like you check your bank balances and check your emails. Check your active projects tab to see what's happening, particularly with contractor bidding and draws. And we're going to talk about that in part 5, which will be in March. Okay, so here you can see we're in preliminary work write-up. We're going to go to that tab. There you can see it is. And here we have our projects, okay? And there you can see these projects are, I'm going to go to Peachtree, 1455 Ross. And there you can see this is the name of the customer. This is their email address. And you see the green button? This means I have yet to invite them to Genesis. Now, my recommendation is not to invite your borrower to Genesis until after you've completed the pre-inspection, the preliminary work write-up, because that way they will be able to go to this dashboard. They will see this dashboard right here. Open, open, open. And that dashboard will give them a view of all of the reports. So this is what the borrower will see, the report dashboard. And it will allow them to open and download all of the PDFs that you've created up to that point. Okay, so here you can see that this project, I haven't finalized the preliminary work write-up. So you want to basically, if you want to let them in at the pre-inspection phase, that's fine. They'll get a copy of their agreement that they had signed. Okay. Then if you do the preliminary work write-up, once that's done, they'll be able to see it. When the contractor bids, they'll be able to see them. And then when you do the work write-up, they'll be able to see all of that and further on. Okay, so that's why you want to invite the borrower at a proper point. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to go to our feasibility task list for this project. Okay, and so here I'm going to basically this is not the one I wanted. Okay, so I'm going to run through this quickly just to show you. All right, and then I'm going to go back. The permits insert tab. This is all done in preliminary work write-up. And I'm going to basically hit submit. And then I'm going to do my construction cost estimate. Here we go. So I'm just going to stick one line item here in masonry. And this is going to be exterior contractor. And we went through all this in the last section. And we're going to say repair build steps. And we're going to say that we're going to do lump sum. Remember, as consultants, we do not have to break it out in material and labor. The contractors do. So we're just going to say $670. Submit. And there it is. Good. The fee schedule, we're going to talk about that. We talked about the fee schedule, and we're going to break this down in a future training, probably on one of those Q&A on 203K loans, especially as we're waiting for changes to the fee schedule from FHA. So $350, one draw. I think the price of mileage went back up to 57 cents. I'll double check that since it's a new year. All right, so we're going to put that in and we'll put in our fee schedule here. And I'm just going to say based on repairs. And we're done. And then I'm going to just grab a photo and stick it in here. And you can input up to 5 images at a time. So I can actually take and put in 5 pictures all at once. So I'm just going to stick that one logo in there and let's put it back. And in 1 minute, I've created a complete work write-up. Now, where does the time take for you to complete a work write-up? In the construction cost estimate. That's where the rubber meets the road. So now I'm going to finalize this. And in finalizing it, now we're moving into contractor bidding phase. Okay. So while that's running, okay, I'm going to stop sharing that screen because it takes a minute to compile, because there it is. All right, it's done already. So there you can see, now we're in contractor bidding. So here is the part that you need to know for today's session. In order to get a contractor to bid, you need to make sure that you have added him to your list of contractors. So over here, you see where it says manage contractors. And so I'm clicking this here. Whoops, open. There it is. Come on, let's go. Okay, let's see. Oh, manage bidders, excuse me. There it is, manage bidders, excuse me. This is our manage bidders list. So here you can see that one of the things I recommend all consultants do, create a dummy contractor. You can easily do that by using another email address that you have. A personal email ideally is best. And then you want to create a contractor so that whenever you invite a contractor to a project, you also invite yourself. That way you'll get the email to let you know that the bid has been invited, and then the contractor will also get it. You also get the email that other contractor gets. So you'll know that he got his invitation. So if he says, I didn't get the email to invite me to bid, you will have also gotten it, so you can forward it to him. They need to make sure they make Genesis203k.net a safe sender so that they can actually get this bid. So here you can see, all right, that I have a test contractor with my own email address. I don't recommend that unless you make sure to have a separate password. Please get a separate password, okay? So here's my favorite password. It's called testcontractor@nafhac.org. It is an email account that I set up, but I'm going to go with, you see all the ones, I'm going to go with my own personal one. There you can see my own personal email address. I'm going to invite myself as a contractor, okay? I'm also going to invite another contractor. So I'm going to email these contractors to bid. If the contractor hasn't been set up, you can add them right there inside the consultant portal. So I'm going to send an email to all these contractors to bid. Yay, they got their emails. Okay, now, right here, you can see where it says manage contractors. I haven't got anyone yet. So there it is, manage bidders, view bids, excuse me. I want to go to view bids. And there you can see that Joe Contractor is already in bid in process. Okay, because I had invited him before. And then Thomas Brooks hasn't opened that contractor bid. So when you are creating this invitation for contractors to bid for the projects, you actually can see who has already bid and who has not. And your borrower will be able to see the reports once they do it. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to log out and log in as the contractor. So I'm going to log into Genesis as the contractor. And I'm going to show you right now. So let me stop sharing or pause this screen and go to my email and show you the email that I received. For a second, let me show you my email. Okay, so let me open this up. So I'm going to share my screen again. See, I remembered to resume sharing. And so here you can see, this is the email that was sent to my personal email account to me as the contractor. Congratulations, you've been invited to bid. It gives me the address. In order to view the details, it gives them the link. It tells them how to sign in. It gives them the company code. It gives them the email that they have to log in, and it even gives them the password. So since this is a dummy email account, I don't have a problem with you guys seeing this email and password. It's no big deal, okay? And then it even gives them information on what is a tutorial that they can watch to be able to do this project. It shares your phone number, okay, with them as the consultant if they have any questions. You also get this email in your inbox, okay? So I'm going to log out of here and I'm going to go back into Genesis now as the contractor. So we now know I'm going to enter contractor bidding, put in that email address, and we know that the password was, and I'm going to log in. So now you're seeing and looking at this as a contractor, okay? This is the contractor's management portal. Because I have worked with this project before, I didn't have to accept the terms of a contractor before starting. When you first start using a 203K project, your contractors will be required to accept the contractor terms of service. They must agree, read through this, and then for the first time they use it, they're going to have to click the button that says that they accept these terms. And these terms of service are on every single page. So these contractor terms of use, they can't ever say, well, I don't remember what those were and I never saw them. Yeah, you couldn't even log into Genesis until you accepted these terms, and they appear at the bottom of every screen that you look at. And what's the most important term that the contractor needs to be aware of? Okay. It talks about their pre-qualifications that they need to have, as far as particularly in states that have properties that have been built before 1978, which is all 52 states. Okay, so it talks about their lead certification requirements, insurance requirement, credit and background checks that they're going to have to be subjected to. And then it talks about all funds released will be based upon the work write-up. No upfront funds of any kind will be dispersed to the contractor for startup costs. They signed this document, they're being told and they're agreeing that they read this and know these conditions, that there's going to be a 10% holdback and that the disbursement is going to be in a multi-party check. Nowadays, many lenders are sending direct wire transfers to contractors, but a borrower can choose to still have a multi-party check mailed to their home that they have to countersign for the contractor to deposit. Okay, so now that we see what the terms of service are, there they all are. Let's look at the bid. So the contractor sees the bids. Okay, so right here you can see that we give them a deadline for completing the bid. And usually the bidding deadline is 7 days. The way that Genesis works right now, it doesn't stop them from bidding after that 7-day period because it got too difficult to reopen it. So they can go past that, but we want them to feel like they can. Okay, so they actually can view the bid package in a PDF. Okay, they actually can see the package and download the PDF. They get to see the full bid. So it's opening up now in a PDF so they can save it. It shows them everything. If they have to share it with their subcontractors, all right, that was the cover picture that I stuck in just to show. They get to see what permits they're required to pull. They get to see the bid, and you see that it's got no numbers. It's for them to put the numbers in. Okay, and so those are the 2 line items that are in this project. And then they get to see the photos. All right, so I'm giving a little plug for the 203K Power Prep, particularly for those who are watching on Facebook Live. We're going to be holding that 4-hour course again in January. So if you didn't sign up and get certified last month, this is a great month to get started as a consultant. So they can see the bid, they can print it off, they can share it with their subs. Anything they want to do, they can now do. All right. The next thing they can do is they can view just the photo album and they can enter their bid. So here you can see they're told that if the category has incomplete bid data right there, it's going to let them know, don't stop before you do that. This has mandatory items that need to be entered. So this project has 2 items, one that has a desired or recommended. That's why it's a check, because they don't have to fill it in. Because this was listed as mandatory, they must put numbers in. So now I'm going to put in the numbers. Okay, so they must fill it in material and labor. So we're going to put in the material. So let's say he's going to charge $500.25 for the material, and he wants a labor rate of $400. Okay, the contractor is able. Okay, so this is the labor total. 5 and 4 is 9. You see it automatically adds the price, and you will also notice that as soon as he's entered it correctly, it went from pink to green. Let him know it's good to go. So let me show you that again in case you missed it, because a lot of contractors, so I'm going to undo that. There you go. See how it has no labor number? So it's in pink. Okay, it's like a peach color, because when I tried to do it in red, it was just too glaring. And you know how I am about red. Okay, so I'm going to put this in again. So that was $400 for labor. And now it's turned green. So now he knows visually that this is passed. Down here under category description, he can enter anything he wants. So if he wants to say, I will be creating only 4 steps, 5 steps, okay? He can put whatever he feels he wants to add and it will be included, okay? There you go. Now all mandatory items have costs associated with them and you are ready to submit. So basically he now can submit this bid. Now, some people have said, well, what if the contractor wants to add other things after he has gone out to the property or based upon conversations with the borrower? No worries. He can add something called a contractor recommended repair. He can include new items in the scope of work, and then you will apportion it in the category that it belongs. He doesn't always know what the categories are, so we don't ask him to figure that out. But let's say he's going to, on the first floor, it's desired by the homeowner. It's going to be done by the contractor, and he's going to, let's say he's going to provide and install hardwood floors, and that's all he puts. And so he doesn't know what to do, so he just sits in a lump sum. quantity 1, and he's going to say the material is 1,200 and his labor quantity 1 and the labor rate is 850, and then he's going to be able to submit this project. Does he want to add another one? He could, or he can just hit submit. Now the contractor has added a recommended item. He can just add his comments. Okay, so we're going to remove all carpeting and install engineered hardwood floors at all living and dining room areas. Now, areas. Now, trust me, contractors don't write this quality of a detail. You're probably going to have to go in, and once you see that recommended item, you're going to have to go in and say, hey, look, you put this in here. I need more specifics. What's your square footage that you're doing? What is the price allowance for the hardwood? You need to add more details because obviously he hasn't. And in most cases, he won't. And for those of you who have been doing 203Ks for quite a while, put a 10X in the chat if you agree that contractors are very, very stingy about giving details. Okay, so put a 10X if you know contractors don't give us the details that we need. All right, so now we've got it, and now he can submit this bid, but we're not going to submit it right now. Okay, I'm going to open up another window, and I know we're running out of time. All right, so I'm getting used to 45 minutes, so forgive me if we go over a little long today. Okay, so I'm going to go into here. And I thought the Facebook Live was running. I hope it is. All I see is a blank screen, but we're not going to worry about that now. So I'm going to go to Genesis 203k.net, and I'm going to log in as the consultant. I want to show you projects. You see where we have contractor bidding in progress? And here's that project we're working with, Peachtree. Now we can view bids. And now you see that, hey, she's done all of the entries. It's just she hasn't hit the submit button. Contractors don't pay attention to details, and they will many times fail to hit the submit button. You can see what's going on. Okay, so now I'm going to go back into Genesis as the contractor, and now I'm going to hit submit. And the contractor's asked, are you absolutely sure you want to submit your bid? You will not be able to change any values after submitting. Okay, yeah. So now we've got the contractor bidding. This information is now listed on his platform as a submitted bid. He has the PDF, so he can't ever say, well, I don't know what my bid is. You can actually see your bid because it shows up on your platform. So I'm going to log out as the consultant, and I'm going to go back into the portal that I set up as the consultant, and I'm going to refresh my screen. And now you see it went from ready to submit to submitted. Now I see the bid, it is submitted. And this is the most important thing I want to show you. I'm going to hit zoom. Over here on the submitted bid side, we have 4 boxes. This allows you to view the contractor's bid. That's the first step you want to do. You want to view that bid, open it up in the PDF, view it, make sure you are happy with it, make sure that all the line items have numbers on it that need to have numbers on it. And if you are not happy with it when you open it up, you can call the borrower and call the contractor and say, I'm not happy, or something is wrong, or something needs to be different. And you can actually send it back to them for revision. You can send it back so they can reopen it and fix it if needs be. That's what this yellow button is. Resend, request revision, okay? You actually can click this button to view the project details, but let's say you viewed the PDF. Your next step, once you viewed the PDF, you open up the PDF, and this is why Acrobat Pro is so valuable. And yes, I know we're over time. I'm sorry, okay? The next step that you're going to do is you're going to download this bid to your computer, to your system. And then if you are happy with the bid, once you've downloaded it into your Acrobat Pro on your computer, you're going to send this to the borrower to sign in all places. Okay, you're going to send this to the borrower to accept the bid, and there's not a line for them to do it. And then you're going to send it to the contractor to accept the bid, and he's going to e-sign it. And then you're going to save this e-signed contractor bid in your folder. Okay, then after you've gotten it signed by all parties and everybody's happy with it, you're going to accept the bid. You're going to select him as the winning bidder. And once you select a contractor as the winning bidder, all other bidders are locked out from bidding. Now that says expired. Okay. And then once you've accepted them as the winning bid and closed off opportunity for others to bid, the next step is to import that data into Genesis. This is one of the most powerful things of Genesis. You don't have to rewrite anything. This is why you want to make sure you encourage, almost insist, that all contractors enter their bid through their portal. Legally, it protects you, okay? Hey, you did it yourself on your own device. I didn't enter it for you. Never enter a bid for a contractor. Never say, I'll fill it out for you, ever, okay? If he can't give it to you in Genesis, then you make him give it to you on printed paper, because you can give him the contractor bid, which we showed you. You can say, hey, I emailed you the bid. You can open it up. And if you don't want to do it on the computer, you have to hand write it in, material and labor. And then you have to email it back to me, scan it back in, email it back to me. Once you describe how difficult it will be for him to create a paper bid, he'll be happy to do it inside Genesis. And is it worth your while to maybe have a Zoom call and share screen with the contractor and walk him through entering his bid in Genesis the very first time? Yeah. Why? Because you're setting up a relationship with someone who you'll be able to use on future projects. And making him comfortable with the system is making him a viable resource for you moving forward. If you agree with that idea, please put a 10X in the chat. Let me hear you, because spending a little time prepping that contractor means you're going to have a happy contractor, a very impressed lender, and you're also going to have a contractor you'll be able to refer to for future work. Okay. One of the things we are going to be teaching in our general membership meeting is how to do a contractor 101 workshop, virtually or in person. So you click that button there, and now I've accepted his bid. So here you can see that now it automatically pushes the project into the work write-up phase. And that ends our conversation for today, because it's taken us all the way from the end of the preliminary work write-up through contractor bidding into work write-up. So next month, when we begin our step 4 of the project, we're going to be covering the work write-up task list, review accepted bids for completeness, how to create the final work write-up with the contractor's numbers, verifying the permits and establish the number of months for completion, and most important thing, collecting the balance due and releasing the work write-up. That's the third time you get paid. You get paid once at your initial site visit and preliminary work write-up. You can also get paid to coordinate a contractor bidding meeting where multiple contractors are coming out to the project, and you are coordinating, orchestrating that meeting with everybody on site, the borrower, all interested contractors, the real estate agent possibly, and you actually are walking them through the house, going through the bids and making sure they understand any questions about that work, about that bid. You can get paid for that as well. Typically, I accept the same amount for that conversation as I do for a draw, which is $350 plus mileage. So that's a second opportunity you can get paid, coordinating contractor bids. And that's when you have contractors to invite to bid. And the third time you get paid is the work write-up, the final balance. And then the 5th time you get paid is the draw inspection. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 times that you get paid in a 203K project. And so that's one of the amazing things about this. 4 payment opportunities, 1 client. That's called recurring revenue. So we are finished today. How many found this a helpful conversation? Did you guys like this conversation today? Did this give you what you needed? Okay. Did this help you get a little bit better understanding of what's happening in this process? Because next month, we're going to talk about the work write-up phase. So we are 6 minutes over our 45-minute timeline. I want to thank you all so much. If this was valuable, will you do me a favor? Post on social media that your membership in NAFHAC has helped you today be even more powerful as a rehab consultant. So until I'm able to support you in the future, schedule your one-on-ones for this month. Everyone's entitled to at least one 30-minute call a month. schedule it. Okay. Yes, I look good, but don't ask me how I feel. So, well, for those of you who know, okay, do you know what I'm going with that? All right. So, schedule your one-on-one. Everyone's entitled to at least one. Premium members, you have already got your 2 automatically in your calendar. So make sure you schedule a one-on-one so I can help support you further. And until I'm able to support you in the future, be outstanding. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.